What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, all right. So we know every year now, this guy's fan base always have it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that we have seen every year. Going into a season with this guy, and we've seen it very prominently since he's joined the Lakers, you see the same pattern. Prior to the season, you'll see them talk about how this team is going to be, amazing. Although I got to admit, we haven't seen that much this year because they're trying to tamp down expectations with JJ because they know. But I distinctly remember with old D Ham, this team can win a championship. But now all of a sudden we got to be patient. But usually we see that. Then during the season when we see that things are not meeting the expectations, then all of a sudden you see this. He has no help. How often have we heard his sick-ass fan base say that? He has no help. Well, first of all, before I go further, a lot of that's his fault because players don't want to have to deal with that bull of playing with him. Okay? They don't. They don't want to have to deal with the BS of playing with him. Okay? Even though they love to talk about how he makes the players around him better, statistically, that's not borne out. And then, a lot of these guys, their numbers go down, their numbers suffer. Unless you're a 3-and-D guy, you really don't excel around him. And even with that, look at a guy like Torian Prince? He didn't play very well with LA. Actually, you know what? He kind of did. I take that back. He played well. He didn't get any shine. But he played okay. But, you playing there, not going to get any credit. Your name's not going to be mentioned on BSPN or Fake Sports. So, yeah, if you're a guy that needs the ball in your hands, you don't play with him. Your market value is going to suffer tremendously playing with this guy. And you might end up stuck there because nobody's going to want you. And as we can see, nobody wants to sign with this team in the postseason because, like I said, they don't want to deal with this guy. And also for all these dudes that keep crying about, he has no help. Doesn't he handpick the roster? It's funny. This is the same dude that handpicked Russell Westbrook. But where's the GM taking responsibility when it doesn't work out? Then he wants to remove himself from a situation. He has a pattern of that. Whenever things don't work out, instead of taking responsibility, he throws people under the bus because he's a coward. But anyway, let's look into this. Michael Jordan had Scottie and Rodman. Tatum has Brown and Holiday. Jokic has Murray and Porter. LeBron James has nobody. So Anthony Davis is nobody. Austin Reeves, who y'all keep trying to tell me is an all-star level player, he's a nobody. D'Lo is a nobody, right? This stuff is ridiculous, man. There's never, Scottie had Robin and Mike, or Robin had Scottie and Michael. Jordan had all this help. Rodman is a tremendous player, Hall of Famer, defensive beast, rebounding giant. But he only averaged 5 points per game with the Bulls. Scottie Pippen never averaged 28 points per game. You know what I'm saying? Like and put up 28 and 12, 3 blocks. You know, like Anthony Davis does in his sleep when he's healthy. So I have no idea what they're talking about. The guy has help right now. The Boston Celtics are deep. But you know who else was deep? The defending champion 2021 Lakers. You know, for the guy who didn't have help that year, Ramon James. He had Dennis Schroeder, who isn't shabby. KCP, you know, the 2-time NBA champion with the Lakers and the Nuggets, now with the Orlando Magic, I believe. The guy who perennially shoots 40% from beyond the arc. You had Anthony Davis, the first ballot Hall of Famer. You had Kyle Kuzma. He was on the team at that time. You know, Kyle Kuzma that, for the most part, is flourishing with the Wizards, although not winning. You had Andre Drummond, who, of course, did not play well with LA, but he's a 3-time rebounding champion. But for some reason, like is always the case when you play with LeBron Ramon James, he looked awful. You had Alex Caruso on that team. Wesley Matthews, although this was after the Achilles rupture. You had Marc Gasol, former Defensive Player of the Year winner. You know what I'm saying? Markieff Morris, former Sixth Man of the Year. Montrezl Harrell on that team. Taylor Horton Tucker. So you had a lot of help. So why did you lose the first round to the Suns? Ain't because you didn't have help. Part of it was I remember you looking like, goddamn, your feet were stuck in gravel. Oh, but he was hurt. Oh, well, you know. Nobody wants to hear that when I talk about Giannis. You know, people make jokes about him getting his back massaged. So I don't give a fuck about some injury that he supposedly had. Like I said, if I want to hear that about when it comes to Giannis, never. Oh, man, he's supposed to get it done. He got to get it done. Just tired of these excuses, man. And when is Morey? When is Jamal? I'm sorry about that. Excuse me, guys. When is Michael Porter and Jamal Murray on the same level as Anthony Davis? And wait a minute. Then in the bubble, they did win a title, but then in the bubble, he had Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo, but he's never had no help. I don't even have to go down the list of players this guy's had. It still has a losing finals record. It still has the most losses accumulated in NBA Finals history. Steph Curry owned this guy in the NBA Finals for the most part. And the one time that they barely won, Steph Curry had injuries, you know, which these guys conveniently bring up when it's LeBron, but nobody wants to talk about that. Steph Curry was hurt. Draymond Green was suspended in Game 5 when he was playing the best series of his life. Harrison Barnes couldn't pitch a goddamn pebble into the ocean from Games 4 onward. And Andrew Bogut got injured the last 2 games of the series. And they barely won. Barely. If it wasn't for that, this dude's record would be 3-7. Not to mention, Ray Allen hitting the biggest shot, maybe during the LeBron era. You don't make that 3, they lose that series. Tim Duncan is 6-0 in the finals if that 3 don't go down. And then LeBron is 2-8 in the NBA finals. 2-8. But anyway, man, We just sick of this, man. It's just so tiresome to constantly see this. He has no help crap. The man has had the most. I would say him and Shaquille O'Neal have had the most help in the history of the NBA. And by the way, I don't think it's a coincidence that at the beginning of the 2000, I think 22-23 season, I think it was that year. There's no coincidence that at the beginning of that season, when LeBron James was out and it was Russ and AD, and remember they went 8-2 without LeBron James, and the media tried to clean it up by saying, oh, well, they're not really playing anybody right now. But it's funny that Anthony Davis looked like the MVP playing with Russ. Matter of fact, a lot of dudes have their best seasons playing with Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant was leading the league in scoring and winning MVP playing with Russ. When Paul George played with Russ, he had the best season of his career. Before he got hurt, he was an MVP candidate and briefly lead the league in steals and was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. When he played with James Harden, Russell Westbrook, that's the last year that he looked like James Harden, you know, the unstoppable scorer, averaging 34 points a game. He played with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has the best season of his career, averaging 31 points per game. He played with LeBron Ramon James. LeBron Ramon James coming from the hair of winning the scoring title and becoming the oldest scoring champion of all time. He plays with Kawhi Leonard last year when he's healthy, and Kawhi had a hell of a stretch where he was a top 3 MVP candidate for a while. And I suspect this season, playing in Denver, one of those guys, probably Jokic, is going to have a career year if Russ stays healthy. I just suspect that. Watch how Jokic looks even better this year. Watch. But the problem is Russ, though. Nah, I think the problem is this guy hanging around the NBA, not making his teams better, stat padding. People talk about Andrew Reese stat padding. This dude's the king of stat padding. And never gets criticized, never gets called out for it. At least Andrew Reese and others get called out for it if you think they're doing it. If you call out with this dude, it's hate. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it.